Guruve Gaura Chanjaya Radhikaya Tadale Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tad Bhaktaya Namo Namaha Vancha Kalpatrubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Dandavat Pranam devotees. Madhavatiti Kadasi Ki Jai. So, there are a few questions I wanted to try to answer and try to make it kind of timely. I have, of course, the noon savers to do and so forth, so I'll try to be expedient at the same time, try to answer the questions adequately. I feel a little bit happy because I think I've caught up. I was getting behind in the questions and answers, and based on answering some devotees directly and also answering some here on the question and answer sessions, thus far I've been able to catch up at least to what's come in so far. So again, I think it's the great mercy of devotees on me to engage me in remembering the Harikatha and the teachings of our Guru Varga, and especially the mercy shown to me by my Guru Parapadma Nitya Lila Praveshtam Vishnu Pada Paramoksa Astotar Sattva Sriman Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj, and equally to my Param Guru Devs, Nitya Lila Pravishtam Vishnu Pada Paramoksa Astotar Sattva Sriman Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, our Srila Prabhupada, and Nitya Lila Pravishtam Vishnu Pada Paramoksa Astotar Sriman Srila Acharya Keshu Srila Bhakti Pragan Keshu Goswami Maharaj, and our entire Guru Varga. So I don't take these sessions lightly, in the sense that I think it is a great mercy and blessing to be able to serve the Vaishnav Mandal, and also for my own edification to have to think deeply about some of these things and respond. So let me get the questions. That would be helpful. So it's been mentioned there in the title, and I think I got the questions on hand. One was, a question came in as to what is Lila? And the devotee, I always just kind of paraphrase, obviously, because I'm not going to write an entire question in the subject matter here. But the devotee's question was, what is Lila? And furthermore, sometimes we hear that Krishna does something, and whenever we try to inquire what that is, people say, oh, it's just the Lila. So he had many different things regarding that. And he also asked about what is Ashtakaliya Lila. Ashtakaliya Lila, right? And so I'll try to give, at least in summary, some idea of what is Lila. And then there's a couple of other topics. Hopefully I'll be able to get to them as well. If not, I'll have to treat them on another day. So, but basically, Lila means it's translated always as a pastime, the sport, the transcendental activities of Sri Bhagavan. But in close analysis, a Lila is really the interaction of Bhagavan with his Shakti. So every form of Bhagavan manifests three Shaktis: Sri, Bhu, and Nila or Lila Shakti. So whether Narayan in Vaikuntha or any other form of Bhagavan, they will manifest those three forms of Shakti. In regards to Sri Krishna, because the Mool Shakti, the root Shakti, is present as Srimati Radhika, and by the Prakash, expansions of Srimati Radhika, as Purnamasi Devi and Brinda Devi, all Braja Lila is taking place. So Bhagavan, when he interacts with his Shakti, and based on the Icha or desire of Bhagavan, many different activities unfold on the platform of Sandhini Shakti. So the internal spiritual energy is composed of three things. One is Samvit Shakti. It means the cognizance potency that allows Bhagavan and the devotees to be cognizant of the nature of the interchange between Bhagavan and his devotees and like that. Then there is the, of course, Ladini Shakti. This Ladini potency is the essence of the emotion towards Bhagavan or love towards Bhagavan, and that Ladini Shakti provides the bliss in that exchange. The Sandini Shakti is the substantive potency. It means it is the very manifestation of the Dham itself, the bodies of all the devotees, the bodies of Bhagavan himself. It is composed of Sandini Shakti. So the Lila Shakti interacting with these three potencies creates varieties of pastimes based on the Icha of Bhagavan. So one way to understand this is in the primary pastime of Krishna, the foremost pastime of Krishna. It's mentioned in Ramananda Samvad, Samyak Saravasana Krishnera Ras Lila. So the Ras Lila is considered to be the pinnacle of all pastimes because in the Ras Lila, here the word rasa has a long A. And it's because rasa with a short A, which are the ingredients of emotion, are being tasted. So it's called Ras Lila. In that Ras Lila, all the ingredients of all rasa are being tasted by Shri Krishna. Right? And hence also the devotees, Srimati Radhika, all devotees, everyone, also is tasting here. So that is called Ras Lila. And it is the pinnacle of all pastimes in Krishna Lila. In the very beginning of that Ras Lila, it is mentioned, Bhagavan Pita Ratri Sarat Utpalika Malika Vikshamrantu Manasa Chakre Yoga Maya Upasritam. So Krishna, Vikshamrantu Manasa Chakre means he had a desire to perform this Ras. To fulfill that desire, he took shelter, Yoga Maya Upasrita, of Sri Yoga Maya Shakti, the Lila Shakti, to make this happen. So the interaction is actually between Bhagavan's Icha, his desire, and his Shakti. So, as I mentioned in Braj, that Lila Shakti is manifest as Purnamasi Devi. Particularly for the conjugal pastimes of Radha and Krishna, one Prakash also is Brinda Devi. And she primarily deals with the pastimes of Shri Shri Radha Krishna Yugal. Because in the Lila, Purnamasi Devi is considered an elder and considered also like Guru Jan, means like an elder for everyone. So obviously there's some elements of the conjugal dealings between Radha and Krishna which would not be nourished by the presence of Purnamasi. Therefore they are done by Vrinda Devi because Vrinda Devi is in the category of the age group and everything else which would be suitable to creating a comfortable atmosphere to express those Leelas. And also for those who have aspiration to serve in those Leelas, our Guru Vargas have instituted the worship of Vrinda Devi. This is why during our morning program, no matter what institution you belong to, there's the accommodation for the worship of Vrinda Devi, Tulasi, Vrinda Devi, same, right? So Vrindaya, Tulasi Devi, Priyaya, Kesavasacha, Krishna Bhakti Pari Devi, Satchavachaya, Namo Namah. So we're worshiping Vrinda Devi every day and begging for the opportunity for seva in that Braj. So especially Srila Prabhupada introduced very beautiful but very short prayer that we sing every day to Vrinda Devi, begging just for that. Radha Krishna Seva Pavo He Abhilas. Ye Tumara Sarana Loy, Taravancha Pona Hoy. Right? So all of these different lines in the Tulsi Stuti or Tulsi prayer that we do every day, there are our desire to serve Radha and Krishna in that capacity. Now, of course, in the not so mature stage, devotees are doing it as just part of the program of coming to the stage of Nishta, right? And coming to some mature stage of Sadhu Sangha, what to speak of Nishta, right? When there's some maturation in bhajan and one begins to really do Sadhu Sangha, then the effect of that kind of Sadhu Sangha gives more insight and more depth in the practice. Then the dhyan, means the meditation involved in the Guru Ashtakam, in the Tulsi prayer, and in the Tulsi Parikrama, all will have more depth of realization. Right? So point here being that Vrinda Devi is the manifestation of the Lila Shakti for the conjugal pastimes of Shri Radha Krishna. Similarly, in Vaikuntha Dham, it's not like there are no pastimes in Vaikuntha. So the Shri Bhu and Nila or Lila Shakti, it's called both things, you will see in every single temple that you visit. Many years ago, I followed the path of Sriman Mahaprabhu when he went through South India. I followed that path from Chaitanya Charitamrita, and we visited all of the temples there. And in all of those temples, Sri Rangam, Tirupati, etc., you will see that the forms of Sri Narayan are accompanied by Shri of obviously Lakshmi Devi. Bhu Devi means Bhu Devi means Mother Earth, but also here it means the foundation of wherever Bhagavan is performing his pastimes, that Bhu Shakti is present there, right? And the Nila or Lila Shakti means the pastime Shakti. So this is really what Lila is, and it has unlimited expressions through various kinds of avatars, through various types of rasa, right? So many different types of Lila are expressed. I've already expressed the pinnacle of all Lila is Ras Lila. And the what is realized in the pinnacle of that Ras Lila is that Krishna wants to then understand the height of the praying of the principal person in that Ras Lila, which is Srimati Radhika. This leads to Krishna manifesting a icha, a desire, Shri Radha Pranaya Mahima Kidraso Anyeva. Right? What is the nature of the pranay? It means the intimate love of Radhika. What is the nature of that? It is from that desire also. Swajena Bhuta Madhuri Ma Kidraso Vamadiya Shokyam Chasha Manubhavataha Kidrasam Vetiloba. What is the special way that Radhika experiences Krishna's Chatumadhuri? It means his flute playing, the beauty of his form, the nature of his praying, and his lila. How does she experience those things in such a way that it gives rise to the type of praying she has? Also, Shokyam Chasya, the special kind of happiness that comes from the extreme height of the love of Radhika, which is called Madanakya Mahabhav. That kind of love, what is it? All three of these things are unknown to Krishna because he is in the position of being the object of that type of love. And in the nature of how rasa works, there is a vishaya and asraya. It means an object of love and a repository of love. So being in the position of the object of love, you cannot really understand what is the nature of the repository. So Krishna has this icha though. The result of this icha is that the Lila Shakti then creates what is called Gaura Lila. And in that Lila, Shri Krishna himself comes absorbed in the mood of Srimati Radhika, Prem Rasanyas Karite Ashwadan, Rag Marg Bhakti Loke Karite Pracharan. Mahaprabhu comes in the mood of Srimati Radhika to taste that mood. Krishna is very tricky, however. So in order to observe himself tasting that mood, he simultaneously appears as Lord Jagannath. And in the Jagannath Rath Yatra, the pinnacle of the mood of Srimati Radhika is always to have the association of Shri Krishna in their Sangha, in Shri Brajadam. Right? So at the meeting at Kurukshetra of Srimati Radhika, the Gopis and all Brajabasis with Krishna during the solar eclipse, they wanted to bring Krishna back to Vrindavan. Srimati Radhika spoke, Anya Redoya Mora Mana Vrindavan Moni Vani Eka Karijani. That my heart and Vrindavan are not two different places. So if you really want to satisfy us, place your two lotus feet in my heart and return to Vrindavan. Of course, in Srimad Bhagavatam, there is no writing of the return of Shri Krishna to Braj. Of course, in Gopal Champu of Jiva Goswami Pada, it's written there, after killing of Dantarakra, he returns. But Srimad Bhagavatam not written there. So, the Rath Yatra is the success of Radhika taking Krishna back to Braj. Krishna Vrajalana Jai E Bhavantara. This is the essential mood of Rath Yatra. So, Krishna, taking the form of Lord Jagannath, witnesses the height of the success of Radhika's praying when she's able to take him back to Braj, taking from the Jagannath temple to Gandicha. Understand? So, in this way, Lila is the interplay between Krishna's own Shaktis and Shri Krishna's own desires. Because Krishna is Abhigyaswarat, first verse of Srimad Bhagavatam. He has unlimited desires and his Lila Shakti is capable of fulfilling all of these desires. Understand? We are eligible for participation by being surrendered and by becoming pure. We can, by identity, enter any of those Leelas according to the particular realized mood that we may have, right? In the position of a sadhaka or aspirant at this point, we want to aspire for gradual elevation in the stages of purification. First, obviously, developing strong shraddha, then shraddha in sadhu, guru, then having bhajan taught to us through siksha by Shri Guru and sadhu, and then realizing their harikatha, their siksha, following their agyai order, then realizing the removal of anarthas by the influence of the potency of bhajan kriya. By the potency of practice, you see your anarthas go away. There's no need of separate endeavors to remove anarthas, right? Because the power that's invested in the aspirant is coming from Swarup Shakti. Either the prabhav of Swarup Shakti means the influence of it, or in the more advanced stages, the abhas of it, or in the stage of bhav, the actual substance of Swarup Shakti. So that Swarup Shakti has the power to dissipate the darkness of ignorance. Understand? And Shri Guru is the embodiment of that Swarup Shakti. That's why we recite Sakshat Hidi Tvena, Samashta Shastri, etc. Understand? So, by the influence of that bhajan and the removal of anarthas, we will come to the stage of Nishta. Nishchalaya Yasha Iti Nishta. So Nishchalaya means the chitta will not be vacillating and oscillating so much due to the influence of the material energy. At that point, we can taste the beauty of bhajan life itself. That stage is called Ruchi. When that Ruchi becomes more mature, it becomes Asakti. And in that stage of Asakti, I've mentioned many times, the Abhas of Swarup Shakti comes onto the chitta, and then Bhavavas will come, means the stage of actually realizing Bhav and realizing in full the nature of your actual spiritual identity, Swarup, etc. And from that, by your practice internally, you can then begin to participate in various Leelas of Bhagavan according to your mood. So this is what is Lila. And Krishna performs these Leelas also, he mentions in Nugraya Bhaktanam, Manushinam Dehi Namastrita. Right? Bhajate Tajasi Kritva Yatritva Tatparo Bhavet. That hopefully you will hear these Leelas narrated by pure devotees. And by hearing this Leela, then the beauty and charm of these Leelas will enter into your heart and displace any material desires like lust, greed, anger, enviousness, all these things. And in the purified heart, you yourself can become a participant in those Leelas for the pleasure of Bhagavan. So this is the nature of Lila. Okay, so next question was about, Vaishnavi Diksha Guru. So I think maybe before, I cannot remember now, I might have spoken on this before, but I'm not apt to deal with like controversies and all these different kinds of things. So sometimes these things arise and you try to in earnest answer the question or give perspective or something, but I'm not really interested in a debate on this issue. The main focus around Guru should be quality and qualification of Shri Guru. Right? Obviously, according to the standard of Sastra, Tashmat Guru Papajeta Jigyasha Shreyuttamam. Shabda Parecha Nishnatam Brahma Uposmasrayam. That by standard, Guru should be a person who has realized the nature of the transcendence. Just like also in the verse, Tadvidi Paripatina Paripushina Sevya, Updakshanti Te Gyanas, Gyaninas Tattvadarshana. So if he's Tattvadarshi, he's seeing the absolute truth. This is highest class of Vaishnava. That highest class of Uttam Vaishnava will come to the platform of Madhyam Vaishnava. Does it mean that his Uttam Adhikar has somehow been lost? It means in order to see the distinctions of Prema, his love for Bhagavan, Maitri, his friendship towards Vaishnavas, Kripa, his mercy towards the innocent, and the necessity of Apeksha where it's required. Apeksha means not to reveal the beauty, charm, and mysteries of bhakti to those who are envious, etc., etc. This is actually one aparad. Last night on the phone conference, we were dealing with the aparads. And a Shraddha Vimuke, the 9th verse, Asharadea Vimuke Anushravati, speaking the glories and the mysteries, the glories of Nam Mahatmya, to those who are envious. Vimuk means adverse to hearing the glories of those names, is also aparat to holy name. So in the Madhyam position, the Guru can see that. Another category of those who may function as Guru is described by Sri Rupa Goswami Pad in the section on Sadhan Bhakti and Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Sasriyukti Sunipuna Jurishwara Yanra, Uttamarikari se Tare Samsar. They have Uttamarikar in eligibility in the practice, because their Shraddha is Dhrita, it is fixed. And because Sastra means their knowledge of Sastra, and Yukti, the application of the meanings of Sastra, is intact. Void of Guru Abhiman, they can also serve Tare Uttamarikari se Tare Samsar. They can help to bring others out of the cycle of samsara. So these are the categories of Guru, and this is the observation that should be made by any aspiring disciple. Not what is the gender of that person, not what is the racial makeup of that person, what is the cultural background of that person, what is the social status of that person. Jiva Goswami expressed in Bhakti Sandarbha forbidden this. And Srila Prabhupada in Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Lila text 135, in the purport, he quotes Bhakti Sandarbha of Jiva Goswami. One should not accept Guru based on hereditary, social, customary, or even ecclesiastical considerations, which means it should not be regulated by institutional considerations. Because relationship with Sri Guru is the deepest relationship one has ever had. There has been no prior relationship to the relationship of Guru and Sishya that one has ever had. That's why Raghunath Das Goswami, he mentions the Guru given mantra and Sri Harinam given by Guru are so much themselves directly Guru that he mentions that what? So mantra Sri Namni Vrajanava Yuvadanda Sarane Sada Danva Hitpa Guru Ratima Puravamatitram. This may be first verse of Manasiksha. That one should develop an unprecedented rati. Unprecedented means you've never experienced it before. Because when we meet Sri Guru, genuinely meet Sri Guru, that relationship is the first introduction to unconditional love. Because the Guru is operating on the platform of non-conditional life. They're operating on the platform of bhakti. Bhakti is a transcendent phenomenon. It is not a phenomenon in which the material energy can touch it. Therefore, there are no conditions in it. So Sri Guru is operating in that arena. And therefore, their love is unconditional for a Sishya. Unconditional love does not mean, absence of correction or absence of chastisement when needed. In fact, it is a true element of unconditional love. That if the Sishya begins to go wayward, it is important that Sri Guru should, if he has any love and affection, should corral that disciple by good instruction and by order. Of course, no one can ever interfere with the absolute, or relative, I should say, independence of anyone. So, but Guru should, by his love and affection, should reach to corral that waywardness of that Sishya. So this kind of love and affection is unprecedented in our life. Not our mother, father, brother, sister, wife, husband, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever. We've never had the experience of this love. So that relationship, what is the status of it? It is nothing comparable in the material world. So you cannot regulate that relationship by ecclesiastical considerations, social, customary, or hereditary. That's why Jiva Goswami expressly pointed this out in Bhakti Sandarbha. First of all, it should be organic. And there should be due diligence. Like in Hari Bhakti Vilas, it's mentioned, there should be mutual observation by both the aspiring disciple and by Sri Guru of character and nature, both examining each other. And then at the conclusion of that year, when there is some conclusive mutual understanding, then they can create relationship Guru-disciple. Now, of course, obviously in the modern world, we don't always have facility for this sort of thing. But there should definitely be relationship that has been existent for some time. The idea of randomly giving initiations or simply meeting people one time and giving initiation, all these things. Now, Harinam is extremely merciful. Therefore, in some cases, especially those who are Uttam Bhagavat, means Mahabhagavat devotees, Saint Bhakti devotees, Srila Prabhupada, my Guru Parapadma, so many, right, high class, they may, by the nature of the overflow of their kripa, give Harinam. I know my Gurudev once, one airline stewardess, she just became so interested. She just spent so much time with Srila Gurudev and his sevaks on the flight. Gurudev gave her Harinam before the flight concluded. So with a flight, 8 hours, 9 hours or something, he gave Harinam. So this is very rare, of course. The Saint Pati Bhakta, high class Uttam Bhagavat devotee, they have vision beyond the scope of what we can see. But in general, the process is there. There should be great mutual examination. Because this relationship, there is no divorce. There's no divorce, there's no second guessing and all these kind of things. So one should be very careful. At the same time, this caution should not turn into so much apprehension that one never fulfills the goal of making a connection with Guru. Because if that happens, then you don't find the shelter of our parampara. The main emphasis, one main side of Guru-disciple relationship is that it brings that disciple into the shelter of Guru Parampara. Because Guru is not a singular person. Guru is the entire Guru Varga. They're the embodiment of our Goswamis. They're the embodiment of all of the followers of Mahaprabhu. They're the embodiment of all of the associates of Radha and Krishna. You understand? So Guru is that presence in our life. And for the first time, within our purview, we have contact with that level of unconditional love. So this brings us into the next question. So hopefully this made it clear that the idea of restriction based on gender, race, cultural background, social status, or anything else, our Srila Prabhupada didn't ascribe to it. My Guru Parapadma didn't ascribe to it. I don't think any of our Guru Vargas ascribe to it. And of course, in our history, we have Vaishnavi Diksha Gurus. Some have given the argument, Janavama. Others, they are the Shakti of Bhagavan, like Janavama. But then you also have the wife of Advaita Acharya, but you can also say same thing, she's Shakti of Bhagavan. But also then you had Hemalata Takarani, right? So there's so many who have come in our line. So point being, we should focus on what is the qualification of Sri Guru and can they deliver the nature of what is pure bhakti to me. That's the criteria. Understand? Also, but on another side of that coin, before I go on to the next subject, we should not be creating guru based on social equities of some sort. Oh, well, we don't have enough, African-American body gurus. We don't have enough female gurus. We don't have enough, gender consideration gurus. This kind of thing is I don't know where that would come from, but that idea is also completely material and therefore will not serve to create the proper atmosphere for learning Guru Tattva among aspirants, and it'll simply become a matter of confusion for them, right? And also it will lead to material considerations about the acceptance of Guru, right? That I want a Guru who matches my my material intersections, so to speak. Intersections means, all of the different various material abhiman or material self-conceptions you have. I'm this, this, and that. And I want to try to find a Guru who matches up with that intersection, all these sort of things. So all of this is very material, and, it will not help to unfold what is pure bhakti. Okay, third question was, that I've spoken about in the past, Vishramena Guru Seva, which means the intimate mood of service towards Sri Guru. But how can we see Guru in that light when Guru is the direct representation of God? So, of course, the immediate answer would be, well, we're aspiring to see God in that light. right? We're aspiring to see Krishna in the sweetness. It's called Lokik Siddhandhubat, the sweetness of the intimate mood of how he's served in Brajadam, how he plays with his friends, how he's chastised by Mother Yashoda, and how he is belovedly controlled by Srimati Radhika and Gopis. So our highest aspiration is in this mood of intimate service. And because, as we've already mentioned, Sri Gurudev is the first manifest presence of Bhagavan via being the representation of the nature of bhakti in this world. They're the Sakshahiritva, direct representation of Bhagavan. Why not would we want to develop the kind of relationship we want to have with Bhagavan, which is a relationship of intimacy? Now, obviously, you have to be common sense thinking here. Doesn't mean I want to have a conjugal relationship with Gurudev or mundane friendship relationship with Gurudev, because the foundation of Sri Guru will not be lost. What is respect, that this is my Guru Pada Padma, that will not be lost. But they're not contradictory feelings. Other than that, Sri Rupa Goswami Pad would not have written Guru Pada Sraya Tata Diksha Shikshari Vishram Bena Guru Seva. We will take shelter of Guru under the consideration he's a direct representation of Sri Nityananda Prabhu. He's a Kanda Guru Tattva is Nityananda, Vyasti Guru Tattva is Sri Guru. So we'll take shelter of Sri Guru, realizing he's Saksharitva, direct representation of Bhagavan. Taking Diksha from him, we will receive Sambandha Gyan and the feature of our Ishtadev, which will then later become one consideration with Sri Nam. Right? I was speaking to one very sweet devotee. I have so much affection for this devotee. He's a very high-class devotee, actually. He's very humble, so he doesn't think like that. But very sweet devotee. And we were talking about the synthesis of our Diksha mantras with Sri Harinam, and how in the more mature stage, there won't be seen as a separation. Because, of course, in Chaitanya Charitamrita, it's mentioned that the mantras are, what is it? Krishna mantra hoite habe samsara mochan. By the nature of the Diksha mantras, one will obtain liberation. Krishna nam hoite habe pai Krishna Racharan. Hopefully I didn't misquote this verse, but Krishna Racharan. By the nature of Harinam, however, we'll obtain the lotus feet of Krishna. But then when you really analyze mantra, it is a bij. The bij is usually contains the names of Bhagavan, like Omkara, Akara, Krishna, Ukara, Radha, Imkara, Jiva, Chandra Bindi is Prem. So it's really a composition of Nam, right? And then the rest of the mantra is composed of Nams, different names of Krishna. So in one sense, there really is, Nam is pradhan, Nam is foundational, even in the Diksha mantras, right? So in a mature stage, one then begins to see the synthesis. One simply doesn't consider, though, that it is mantra. One considers, in the mature stage, that it is the nature of my Ishtadev in relation with Ishtadev, who is present in Nam. In other words, Hare Krishna means Radha and Krishna. Abhinatvam Nama Namnyo. And Nama Chintamani Krishna Chaitanya Rasvigraha. Right? Purna Suro Nityamukto Abhinatvam Nama Namnyo. That this Harinam, Radha and Krishna's names are directly Radha and Krishna themselves. This becomes realized by the mantra. Understand? So at one point a synthesis will come between mantra and Nam. Right? So where it is mentioned, and our Srila Bhakti Rakshak Srila Goswami Maharaj wrote one book. And in that book he gave the diagram how the Diksha mantra is like an inner circle, and Harinam is like an outer circle that reaches from the top all the way down to the bottom. Whereas the Diksha mantra requires some adhikar. Therefore, it's presented when the disciple is some qualified, and at the top of the circle it retires, so to speak, at the point of liberation. But what does retire here really mean? Retire means the conception that it was a mantra, an element of a modality or tool to acquire realization. That mentality retires. And then one sees the mantra as the Ishtadev, the relation with Ishtadev, which is present directly in Nam. Understand? So, back to the original point. In the relation with Sri Guru, the idea of receiving Diksha and the idea of receiving Siksha, right, leads to the nature of the intimacy of love. This is called Vishwambhena Guru Seva. So there's not a dichotomy between appreciating the quality of Bhagavan being Saksharaditva and then developing Vishramba mood of intimate seva and love for Sri Guru. In fact, this is the ideal progression according to Sri Rupa Goswami Pad. Secondly, when maturation comes in that mood towards Gurudev, then Sri Gurudev's manifestation as the Prakash of Srimati Radhika takes place in that aspirant. Especially for those who are aspiring for Seva in Radhadasyam. If one is aspiring, you'll see in Jaiva Dharma, like in the case of Brajanath and Vijay Kumar, one was aspiring for Sakya Rasa. Therefore, Gopal Guru Goswami manifested before him, oh, you are a follower of Subal. So they saw in their Gurudev the manifestation of, not like Gurudev is Subal, because Gurudev has his own identity, but he gives revelation of that Parikar as the model or ideal whom you follow. So Gopal Guru Goswami revealed to one that you are a follower of Subal, and to the other that you are a follower of Lalita. Means being in the gun of Lalita, but following Sri Rupa Manjari, and more specifically following one's own Gurudev, who if is also in Manjari Bhav, their Guru Rupa Sakhi, they will follow that person. Understand? So Vishwambhena Guru Seva, or intimate mood with Guru, is very important. Another thing I mentioned once before by example, if you have a hose, and that hose, you turn the water source on, and the water is flowing through the hose. If you contract the hose at any point, then the water will be contracted and therefore will come out in a less forceful way or less flowing way. In the same thing, if the relationship between Guru and disciple remains filled with Aishwarya, Mahaprabhu was told in Chaitanya Charitamrita in regard to the nature of praying, period. Aishwarya Gyanite Sakala Jagatera Mora Mishri Aishwarya Shaitila Prem Nahi More Preet. When praying becomes contracted by the over-absorption in Aishwarya in relation to Bhagavan, then it becomes contracted. Shaitila means contracted. You understand? So we want that the relationship between Guru and disciple should be open flow, so that all conceptions in the heart of Gurudev can flow to that disciple's heart. To maintain a cosmetic relationship, that is my Guru, I'm the disciple, and no ability for the intimacy of the heart to flow comes about, it will be very protracted, the advancement of the disciple, because there's no continual deep flow of the mood of Gurudev. When Gurudev is giving Harikatha or giving an order to disciple, in that is the full embodiment of Swarup Shakti. If you contract that by creating a situation under which that pure flow cannot go on, then it will create more difficulty in the unfoldment of the disciple, and it will also raise questions why Gurudev will be like that. If Rupa Goswami is given this instruction, why Gurudev is maintaining a posture that is so distant and creates so much Aishwarya. Now, in the very beginning, obviously, when we were learning what is the nature of Guru, this formality and deep sense of Aishwarya towards Guru had to be there, because we didn't have any conception previously of a relationship with Guru. You understand? And if we take a mundane approach to it, because of absence of knowledge or some other reason, oh, Gurudev is like an ordinary man. Well, Shastra has forbidden this. We should not see Sri Guru as ordinary. Right? It's directly quoted. Navamanyeta karhichit. Not at any time you should see Gurudev as an ordinary person. Right? So, we should not confuse mundane intimacy or mundane familiarity with a sense of deep, based on respect in the nature of Guru Tattva, a deep mood of intimate service and affection for Guru, so that there can be the pure flow of Gurudev's mood into the heart of that Sishya. Very important thing. My Gurudev, he has so many disciples, thousands, but he always made me feel, oh, you're very special. This is the nature of love in the spiritual world. Unlimited jivas are in the spiritual world, but all feel a special kind of individual love. So the same thing manifests from Sri Guru. Many disciples, but each should feel this way. Now, Guru also has capacity, maybe. So if any Guru will take 5,000, 10,000 disciples, then the relationship may become institutional simply because Gurudev does not have that capacity. Right? If anybody's high class Uttam Bhagavat, they have capacity. But if anyone is not on that stage and they're being realistic and being honest, and maybe they're doing the service of Guru in the category of Shastri Yukti, Suni, Punya, etc., then they will also have to acknowledge capacity. In order to give adequate mood to those that may come by their faith, invest their faith in that person, they should be able to reciprocate honestly and fully. If you have so many disciples, then it will, which is why in Bhakti Sindhu recommended don't have too many disciples, don't build too big of temples, all these different things. But because the nature of that flow has to be personal. And if your capacity doesn't allow it to be personal, then you're just collecting bodies under a kind of banner of they have a guru. But the pure flow of your own heart won't touch them quite in the same way. Now somebody may say, well, wait, how Srila Prabhupada was able to do it? I just got through saying some high class of Uttam Bhagavat Vaishnavas who have capacity. My Guru Parapadma also. Many, right? Right? They have capacity, they can accept unlimited disciples like that. But they're endowed like Krishna, he could dance with billions of gopis. And at one point in the Ras Lila, for the southern Siddha gopis, each thought Krishna's dancing with me alone. You understand? So Sri Guru has to have that ability, that he has to be able to make the disciple feel the reciprocation is direct with that disciple. It's a very important thing. All right, so I think that is concluding for answering the questions that came in. And I also, as I mentioned, on this Kadasi, very mercifully, I've at least to now completed Savor in that regard. And so, of course, I'm always welcoming to questions that may come in. So devotees can write either by the inbox. Is preferable because that's easier than doing the email. Because sometimes I don't check the email and I've seen questions there that have been there for some time. So I apologize also for that. So, but if there's the inbox here, sometimes I'll check that because I'm answering questions sometime directly. So I'll see it if it comes in the inbox on Facebook here. All right, devotees, Dandavat Pranam. Everybody, please become very prepared for Nityananda Trayodasi coming up. And have a very, very blissful meditation and save on that day. Jai Vancha Kalpataruvesha Kripashindavevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Radhe Radhe Jai Sadhan Siddha Prabhu. Hope everything is going well for you there. Yes, I'm also contemplating how I can come to see you, so I'll see how I can get everything worked out and make that happen. Or either get you to come here, one of the two. So we'll work something out. But my heartily blessings from our Guru Parampara that everything is good for you. All right, Hari Bol, Radhe Radhe.